We are the last undefeated team in the NFL. We are in my opinion, the front runner for the MVP award. Sirianni right now is the front runner for Coach of the Year.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Good protection for Jalen Hurts, who takes a shot, and he's got A.J. Brown inside the 10, inside the 5. For the Eagles at their own 47. Good protection again, launched downfield. Watkins wide open, touchdown.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
What's up?
What's up? We here. Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
Dude, that was wild.
All of a sudden, it just stopped.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like the video stopped when it was supposed to stop. It was crazy. Even this, like, shady. So, if you guys don't know, this is the Sports Warehouse. And we are just, like, off balance tonight, man.
We're definitely off kilter, man.
So, I'm Drip. That's Chip.
What's up?
And like we ain't been here for a couple weeks, so we got a lot of stuff to get to, a lot of topics. I got some people already checking in over here, man. We got Eric B. What's going on?
What's up? What's up?
Man, Chip, how you been, man? Let's not gotta play this thing.
I mean, I'll tell you what, it's been hectic. It's been crazy, parenting, teaching, trying to teach a teacher to be a teacher.
Facts. You got a student teacher?
Yeah, I got another one. This one is not as good as previous ones. And like, all right, so wait, you've been in the field of education for a minute or two, right? I have the student teacher, and he has struggled since Jump Street. For those of you that don't know, I've been a teacher for 14 years. I've had 6 student teachers in the last 3 years. Like they keep sending them to me. Like Temple University reached out, was like, hey, is Mr. Keggy available to take on a student teacher? So I said, yeah, I'll take him on. So I take this guy on, and like from the jump, I knew, I'm like, oh, this kid's smelling himself a little bit, right? Like this kid thinks his poo poo don't stink.
Okay, fair enough.
And let me tell you, his poo poo stink real bad.
Okay.
His poo poo stink real bad. I mean, I've talked to his college tons of times about him, so much so that I'm like, I don't think that he should pass student teaching. Well, I was told
he has no choice but to pass student teaching.
I was told, well, he shows up every day and he lesson plans, so he passes. I'm like, well, apparently that's all it takes to be a teacher, according to Temple University.
They're not saying you have to be a good teacher. They're just saying you have to be a teacher. Yeah,
there's the warm body situation. And, after, what Megan Trainor said about teachers, I guess that's true.
Oh, man.
Did you hear that?
I didn't, but
Megan Trainor said, fuck them teachers.
Wow.
So her lips are moving, but I won't be listening for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So I don't want to hold these people. They've been having a lot weight on us a lot lately. So let's just jump right into the content.
Cool.
All right, you got it. Let's go.
I got the wheel. So for those of you who don't know, we got a wheel, got topics. We spin the wheel. We talk about the topics. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's how this works. Let's go. All right, baseball right away. Hot dog.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so I was very vocal. Look, my prettier half is here.
T, what's up?
Hold on, she can't hear. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna make it audio wise.
What are you doing? I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Hi.
Hey, T.
Hi.
We miss you so much.
I miss you. I'm so happy you guys are doing this.
This is crazy.
I'm not here, but I'm just here.
Well, I see your face.
See your face.
Okay. I'm glad to be seen.
Okay, I just wanted to say hi. Hi, everybody. Okay, bye.
Plug back in. Don't call a pitch clock violation while I plug back in.
I am.
On my back.
I feel you. I hear you, and I got you.
All right, so
Pitch
for those of you who don't know, I'm an umpire. I've had a lot of thoughts about this pitch clock situation, and real simple. I still strongly dislike it because of a couple reasons. Now, I'm actually going to go a very different way on this, JD, and I'm going to make it more relatable for the fan rather than the technical side of this all. Okay. All right. So my issues with the pitch clock are very simple. It is making an umpire's job more difficult, right? It's making them more like, as an umpire, I got 7 trillion things I'm looking for pre-pitch and during pitch and all that stuff. And now you got to wait for a buzzer and all that stuff. So that's a whole nother issue. And, and now you're talking about like things buzzing in and called third strikes and games ending. Again, all that's a problem.
Right.
The purpose of the pitch clock was to what?
Speed the game up.
Speed the game up, which it has successfully done. Right?
Okay.
Here's my new level of frustration, and I didn't even factor this into my original set of frustrations. By speeding up the game, there are games now ending in about an hour and 57 minutes, right? Under 2 hours.
Good. Yeah, which is great.
Which in theory is great, but they're not lowering the prices at all. So they're still paying $85, $90, $100 a ticket and parking and food and all that stuff, right? For less than 2 hours of entertainment, right? I'm doing the air quotes for those of you just listening in. But instead now they're talking about, and this kind of came into the news with Strom, who pitches for the Phillies. They're now selling beer into the 8th inning.
Yeah, because this was the 7th inning stretch. They stopped.
It was always they stopped selling beer in the 7th. Well, now they're like, well, selling in the 8th. And he comes out and goes, if you're speeding up the game, why are those extra 22 minutes? Now they're cramming beers and they're leaving sooner. So you're actually making
it more dangerous.
You're making the experience more dangerous by that. There are so many factors that I didn't even consider. But the alcohol thing, the money maker at a ballpark, another reason why I'm against the pitch clock. It's irresponsible of the ballparks.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let me play devil's advocate.
Do it.
So as a baseball watcher who's like, I just kind of watch like here and there. I'm not very much of a baseball fan, but I do watch it. I do enjoy it when I do watch.
Mm-hmm.
I can dedicate 2 hours to something. I cannot dedicate 3.5 hours to a game, start to finish.
I get that.
So the 2 hours makes it a lot easier for the casual watcher. Like, hey, I want to go watch it for 2 hours. I can dedicate 2 hours to something I care about. Like, I can watch the Phillies for 2 hours. It's not a big deal. Like,
right.
me and the lady can watch it for 2 hours. So in that way, I think it's lucrative I think it's doing exactly what it was planned to do. And I don't think it's been that like negative on like the game either. Like, so I think at the end of the day,
I think the game itself is benefiting from it, right? So I do think that, I think back to like when I watched Nomar Garcia Parra back in the early 2000s, and every single pitch he would get out and then get in for the next pitch. I made sure to do as much sound as possible while you were getting your sip, right?
Dude, you're trying to make me spit this stuff on the mountain.
I am. I'm trying to make you snurf. So it speeds all that up, but it's just so much. I'm trying not to go the purity of the game route.
Yeah, don't go there.
Because I do feel like baseball is the one game that has not really adapted with the time. You and I see eye to eye on that. And for the people watching the games at home, it's different. But again, that experience at the ballpark, it is tough. Eric appreciates the fact that I almost got you to snurf on the mic.
I know, I see that.
But again, as a baseball official, I'm glad it hasn't worked its way down to the high school levels, because I mean it's a nightmare. And I don't like, so after spring training where you had some of those moments where it's like, oh, so-and-so was coming back after spending 10 years in the team and things like that, and they're gonna spend in a couple extra seconds, like, wait, certain umpires are doing the right thing and like, I'm not starting the pitch clock yet because Gene Segura is coming back and he helped the Phillies get to a World Series, and let's give him a chance for the fans to clap for him a little bit. Like, let's not rush that moment, because those moments in baseball are so pure. It's the umpires who are again, I'm copywriting this term, the grumpy umpies, who are like, get in the box, and I'm going to charge you strike one. I don't care if you're going to wave, and you better get in the box. I'm going to charge you strike two. Like, the guy played for an organization for 12 years. Let him tip his hat to the home fan base. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you have to adjust for.
Yeah, but that shouldn't take you more than 5 or 6 seconds to do that. Like, hey, I'm just paying my homage. I'm moving on with life. You shouldn't have to do it every single time. Like, maybe
no. It happens the first time you're back in the stadium. Like, that's what I'm saying. And there's still, you have umpires going, strike one, time clock. I'm like, stop it. Stop it.
That's fair. That's fair.
You have it's almost like a read the room situation.
Yeah, that's fair.
So those are my thoughts on the pitch clock.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
All right, we're about to get active now. It's about to get real.
Oh, it's gonna be another umpire one, I bet. Watch. It is not.
Pay my boy.
See how I put a dollar sign in there?
Yeah, I saw that. I like that.
JD, you know what? You, from the outsider perspective, why don't you talk about your thoughts on the Jalen Hurts situation?
First off, number one, I'm not an outsider when it comes to Jalen Hurts. I've been on record saying that Jalen Hurts was the best quarterback for Philly as soon as he was drafted. So I caught a lot of heat for that.
Yes, you did.
But I think that at the end of the day, I think it was the right decision to extend him, give him the big money. I think there's an even bigger payday coming for him if he continues to excel, especially if he can get a ring. Being so close last year from getting that ring, it kind of just solidified, hey, we got to pay him if we want to have continued success. And he has the weapons, and it looks like they're all in on Jalen Hurts. And I think that's the biggest vote of confidence going forward with him is by paying him, giving him the money. Because we've seen it around the league where guys like Lamar Jackson, who's been MVPs, but can't get the money that they think they deserve in a market that is throwing money at these guys. Even when, like, we'll talk about this later, but Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, like, there's been a lot of movement at the quarterback position for a lot of teams. And if you can stay at a place long enough to get acclimated and have the team deem you as being the franchise guy, I think the only way to really do that is to put money in that guy and really get behind him and stand behind him, especially for a guy that was drafted when they already had a franchise quarterback, to now see, hey, we're all in on Jalen Hurts. He is the guy for our future, and he's who we want.
And I think it says a lot. So, and I tweeted this out last week when the deal broke. To me, it says so much about the man that Jalen Hurts is. So, forgetting for a second the incredible athlete that he has become, the NFL changing athlete, right? They're literally sitting in owners' meetings trying to discuss whether or not to get rid of the Jalen Hurts play. You know what I mean? Like, that's that game-changing level of stuff.
Right.
And I think that needs to be made sure we said, but the man himself, since he joined the organization, you know, Carson Wentz kind of threw a hissy fit, but Jalen Hurts came out and was like, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to learn. I'm going to get right.
Right.
He comes out, he plays okay that first year. You know, he's not expected to be the starter. Then that next season where he is the starter, I mean, he kind of does a job. But he doesn't turn anybody's heads really. I mean, he kind of goes out, does the job, still leaves a whole bunch of questions. They start putting pieces around him. He takes the team to a Super Bowl. He answers every single question about him.
Yep.
And the whole time, since the minute he's drafted, he has come in with the right attitude, the right mentality, that leadership quality, that lead by example, that bring these guys around. The guys want to come to Philadelphia to play with Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
And knowing that, he knows he's due for a big pay deal. And Howie Roseman and his agent, and by the way, kudos to Jalen Hurts' team.
Dude, that girl is dope.
Kudos to Jalen Hurts' team.
That young lady is all that in the bag of chips.
Do you know the whole story about like cold calling him on like draft night? Like that's like respect, like a lot of respect.
Because you got to think about, like, let's just be honest, like the major players right now in, you know, the agent world are like Rich Paul and his crew. So to think that she's a vice president of football operations over there, first of all, as a female, but as an African American female, in a league that is predominantly male, is amazing.
And there's the quote, right? And that was what I was kind of getting to. So I'm gonna circle back to the agent in a second, but Jalen Hurts takes a deal that is the most team-friendly deal I have ever seen in my entire life, because he knows that there is a window right now with this team where if they get a few pieces that they need, they will win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
And he's betting on himself. So his deal is this escalating pay scale. Well, he is going to get paid in the last year of his contract, but it is a deal that makes him the highest paid NFL player without breaking the Philadelphia Eagles. It is the anti-Lamar Jackson deal where Lamar Jackson goes, I want to be the highest paid player, and I don't give a crap what you put around me. Pay me first and then put stuff around me. It is the anti-Aaron Rodgers deal. It is the anti-Russell Wilson deal. It is a deal that says, I want to win a championship. Money is good, but championships are better.
They are better. And I'm thinking, I think Jalen Hurts is taking a page out of Tom Brady's book. Because Tom could have taken money. Like he won.
He could have taken all the monies.
He could have taken all the money, and it would be no one to argue with the fact that he deserves it or not. But I think there's something to be said for a guy that's willing to share the wealth, so to speak, and willing to go out and say, hey, listen, like there's enough money for us to go around. $255 million, even if he doesn't do anything in his whole career, $255 million is enough to live on for you and your next of kin for for the foreseeable future. So he's not. I think it's just a matter of like he's not greedy. Like he knows.
And that's the thing. Like he's come out and said, like, team first. Like, I'm here to win. We got to work hard every day. We got to cash these checks. Like, we got to put the work in. The rent is due. Like, he said all the right things. And for him to take a deal that backs it up makes me think the absolute world of this guy.
Yeah,
because he deserves that huge payday, but he did it in a way that put the team first.
So, like when he first drafted and like everybody's talking about, like he can't throw and he's not the guy for us. And, like that's the guy you kind of want him to be. The guy you kind of want him to be is a guy that says, okay, well, you guys didn't want me, so now let me hit your pockets. Well, in theory, he went back and kind of doubled back and said, you know what, like I'm going to show you that like not only was I the guy for you, but I'm the guy that you're going to want to have. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing changes but the weather. Yeah, Max, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with Max. Like I'm all for what the Eagles are putting together, and I think they have the right catalyst on like continuing that that ride that they're on. Like, and I don't think last year is a deterrent. I think if anything, it just makes them hungrier. I think it makes them come out like more ready to try to prove the naysayers wrong, show that it's not a fluke, and show that they're going to be there for a long time. If they keep pieces. I mean,
you saw when Jalen Hurts got to when Jalen Hurts got into the playoffs in his first year as the starter, he wasn't ready to be on a playoff level. So what did he do? He worked hard the entire offseason, and he took him to the Super Bowl. So now what is he going to do? This guy I think my favorite thing that I read about him is that if he could set up a cot at the link, he would at the NovaCare Center. Max, I swear Chip and I have been the biggest supporter of Hurts, where that works for AAT that had nothing but hate for Hurts. No, to be fair, to be fair to my network that I do the Wednesday night show on, I think that we had some honest scrutiny, which, and again, I was the same way where I said, hey, I need to see X, Y, and Z before I, throw my full weight of support behind him. And then he came out and did X, Y, and Z. So I'm like, okay, you got my support.
So, Chip, do you remember having this conversation? I remember like it was draft night. I think we had just started doing the show and everybody's down on Jalen. And I'm like, listen, like there's one thing I know about Jalen Hurts, and he's going to work his butt off. Yes. And he's not going to shy away from adversity, from everything he went through in Alabama. And like a lot of people who don't watch college football, they don't even know that part of his story. They just assumed that he was one of these gunslingers at Oklahoma the whole time. And that wasn't him. And so to be honest, like if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan who just saw Jalen Hurts come out of nowhere, you know he got benched in the national championship, but you don't watch his progression all the way through Alabama to Oklahoma, being like basically the backup quarterback, then going to being a starter and basically being in the Heisman conversation all 4 years of his career. So it's like, it's hard to say that he's not one of the best. And
I think the thing that I respect a lot, and it kind of ties into the scrutiny piece. Yeah, I was not calling for Russell Wilson. I was not calling for Aaron Rodgers. I was not calling for any of these fools. I wanted to see what we had with Jalen Hurts. And then I said, if it's not what we have, we got those 2 first-round picks this year, and we can make the adjustment. But we got what we need.
Yep.
And that's what I said. I mean, I said that from you can go back, check my receipts. They're all there. What I like the most about Jalen Hurts personally is the fact of, how hard he works. And I think the perfect coach for him is a guy like Nick Sirianni, who says flat out, hey, Jalen Hurts needs to work on the following things in order to reach that next level. He says it flat out. There's no hidden message. So what does Jalen Hurts do? The son of a football coach? He works on those things and he proves it. This is not a deal where it's like, oh, well, he's going to get paid because, it's his contract year and I maybe he's going to earn it. No, Jalen Hurts has proved and earned every dollar that he just signed for. And the fact that he backloads the deal so that he can be a team first quarterback, I mean, I can't say enough positive things about him. And now tying back to the agent stuff that we were talking about, I was so surprised because, again, obviously, JD, you and I are on the social media world a lot, so we see all of those corners of the society. Right. There are people out there, like when the story gets posted, this woman who was an African American is the first African American woman who had represented a Super Bowl starting quarterback, and that she navigates this biggest deal and da-da-da. And there's people out there going, well, it's just the numbers. Like, why do you got to point out that she's a woman? Why do you got to point out that she's an African American? Because you know what? Because she did the damn thing. Point it out.
Or just in general, like it's a milestone for us, and not just for African Americans. It's a milestone for women, like who've been fighting for equal pay in their positions and equal care in their workplace.
Respect. And again, you look at Jalen Hurts' whole team. Like it's not just it's not just her, right? The whole team is made up of African American women, strong African American women who are doing the damn thing in a white meets white world.
In a male dominated world too. So big ups to him. And I think that just goes to show, like, at the end of the day, like he's a forward thinker. Like he's a fully forward thinker. And it's like, it's not just talk. It's like he's putting his money where his mouth is, literally. And he's putting his career in the hands of women who he trusts. And these are very, very smart women. I mean, they always have the best saying that they got out, they've been saying forever, is behind every good man is a very, very smart woman or very strong woman. So that would be no different here. I think he's proven that he's tough. I don't think he needs to prove anything. And on top of it, like, he's got a team that is clearly got his best interests at heart.
Right. Like just his team in general. Like he is such a team driven guy, whether it's the Eagles as a team, whether it is his management team. He knows that he only goes so far as the team that he supports and puts around him. And I mean, everything he has backed up every word. Like there's no fake or phoniness about Jalen Hurts.
I'm fair. That's fair.
All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
To the wheel.
Give me a basketball topic. Basketball topic.
Ooh, this all you, brother, man.
Hey, you. Okay. Gotta go. Just wanted to say Hurts is a dog. QB1. Best QB in the NFC. All right, man. I gotta back that. I want to see more and more women coming into sports. Referees, we need more and more.
Agreed.
Yes, I agree. All right, AAU. So you know how you always do your referee chronicles. Well, I'm a basketball coach by trade, so I get to do this thing. I don't know when the season's over where I can't technically coach a team, so I get to go do all the AAU tournaments. I get to go watch this stuff, and I get to watch it in the nauseum. So I'm just at a point now where I need to say this. I got to get off my chest. I'm gonna make myself big because I just feel like I just need to do it. Okay, AAU is one of the best things going, but one of the worst things out there. Because there's so many people who are not necessarily good role models to kids who are able to get into AAU. It's anybody who wants to start a team, anybody that has the money, or anybody that has access to children. Well, everybody doesn't need access to children. Everybody doesn't need to be able to say they have a team. Everybody doesn't need to be a coach. Some dudes are just too urban or street or whatever you want to say. Some of the people don't need to be around kids in that thing because they're put in a position as an AAU coach where you're in a place of authority. So kids are listening to you. I'm not saying that AAU is not beneficial. There's a lot of good AAU programs, a lot of good AAU organizations, and people that are running AAU, but there are also some scumbags running AAU programs. And I think Eric knows, and a lot of other people that are around the youth, they know that everybody should not be a coach. Everybody should not be able to have access to your children. So as a parent myself, I'm speaking to other parents, and I hope they hear me. Everybody does not deserve access to your child. Regardless if they don't have a AAU organization or their sponsor or whatever, they don't need to have access. Everybody does not have your child's best interest at heart. Putting your child on a bunch of AAU teams is not going to guarantee that your child gets better. Putting your child with a trainer is not going to ensure that your child is going to get better. You need to look into it. You need to do the research with your child and make sure that this, first of all, the organization is a reputable organization, that your money is going to what they say your money is going to, that they are going to the tournaments that are reputable and not just little half-baked tournaments that they just find so they have low entry fees. Make sure they're going to places that your kid's going to get seen and that they have social media that backs that thing up. Because if anything is put on without any type of social media coverage, chances are that tournament is not a reputable tournament and your child is not going to gain anything but possibly running the chance of getting hurt. Last thing I'm going to say about AAU is that we're putting a lot of stress on kids by the amount that they play based on the amount of games. There's at least, when every single tournament that's worth the crap is going to have 3 guaranteed games, no matter what. Anything more than that is extra. And that's like, pool play and all that stuff. But you're going to get 3 guaranteed games in most cases. So if that's the case and that's what you're going for, then that's great. But if that tournament is not going to, yield that, and that tournament is not a good tournament, you've just put more miles on your child, on his knees, his joints, everything that matters for him to play a sport, particularly with us. And now AAU it's not just derivative on basketball and baseball like it used to be. Now they have AAU football, which is 7-on-7. And so we just got to watch that. They're just changing the name of things, but it's the same process. And there's no way to check who your kid's coach is or know their background without you having to do some research. So you can't be a lazy parent. And I'm not calling people's parents lazy, but I'm just saying sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. You find somebody that you can trust who can give you information about these things so you can make the most informed decision for your child. Because if not, you're going to run into a situation where your kid's going to be in harm's way and you're not going to mean to have put him there.
Right. And I think that a lot of what you said is really important, and it kind of transcends over just the basketball thing. You hit on the football piece, and I can tell you just from the baseball world, like there's so many money hungry grabbers out there, right, that, like you said, do not have the best interests of your child. And when you have an athletically gifted child,
yes.
When you have an athletically gifted child, you want to be able to provide them everything that they want in order to get to where they want to get to. But you've got people that see you just as straight up dollar signs. So like, I know there are people out there in the baseball world who, I'll train your kid for X amount of dollars, and they teach him the wrong things. I know that there are tournaments that you can go to, and you're going to get looked at by so-and-so scouts, and nothing. First off, let's just be honest. Nothing beats hard work.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you can be that naturally gifted, that naturally talented person, but if you're not willing to put in the work, I mean, nothing comes out of it. My own kid, like really good baseball player, right? And he, over the winter, I gave him a couple opportunities like, hey, do you want to go to this hitting clinic? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And he's like, no. Okay. All I can do is provide the opportunities of the things that I know are out there. At some point, it has to transition away from the parent to, does the kid really want this?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's important too. Like on my kid's team, there's this one player specifically that I'm thinking of. So my kid plays middle school baseball, and every single game, you can pretty much count on the fact that he's going to pitch. Now, for those of you that do not know, pitching is exceptionally taxing on the body.
Yep.
Right.
Specifically the shoulder.
Especially the shoulder and the elbow. And this muscle right here, your tricep muscle. right? A combination of how you have to sling everything. The last week, they tried to send him to the pitching mound, and he couldn't because he had pitched on Thursday for the middle school team. He had pitched on Friday for a travel team. He had pitched on Saturday for his other travel team, and he had pitched on Sunday for another travel team. And they don't communicate with each other. So when Tuesday's game rolled around and they went, all right, you're about to go back to the mound, his dad had to come in and go, absolutely not. He is not pitching. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have a 14-year-old with Tommy John surgery.
Exactly.
So, again, the parents have got to be the best advocates for their children. And the kids have to know that, like, the parents are willing to give them these opportunities. And let's be honest, AAU in general is not exactly cheap. And all these travel programs. What up, Mikey? I'm wearing my union hat again. This is my go-to hat now, Mikey. I just want to tell you.
Oh, black on black.
Black on black, right? It's a badass hat.
That's bad. I ain't gonna lie, it's a bad hat.
But these programs are not cheap. And AAU knows that. And they go, well, we're going to get you out in front of these coaches and these people. But again, because they have all of the power. So again, if any of these parents are watching, any of these coaches, just know, especially the coaches, know the power that you harness and respect it.
Yeah, I think
don't be a shyster. Don't be a shyster.
Don't be a shyster. But like, I think like just to kind of end it on this, I feel like AAU is a powerful tool if used correctly. It is it's a tangible asset for players that are from small towns that may not have an opportunity to play in front of big names. You get to get yourself out of your small town and take your talent and, get found and get seen. But the caveat to that is that sometimes being from a small town, you're not exposed to people that are being what's the word I'm looking for? Who are being like nasty, who are not trying to, look out for the little guy. It's a guy that are trying to take advantage. The money is definitely there if you want it. If you want to get into AAU, there's money out there. There's people out there who will fund your AAU program. If you're a good coach and you don't think you have the money to start something, there's always different programs. There's grants you can get if you really are going to want to do it the right way. But I will say this, if you're going to do it, I'm telling you, put your best foot forward for these kids, because the kids are going to know soon your reputation will be – all it takes is one bad tournament for your reputation to get ruined in this thing, because the coaches talk, the tournament the tournament organizers they talk about you. So it'll be your information will be out there quicker than you know. And once you get blackballed from stuff like that, like, it's hard to get past it. And if your whole point is to get kids to school, you're not going to be invited to very much things that are, important or have any importance, because they don't trust you.
And like, I remember last summer, I remember this explicitly. I was doing a 12U baseball tournament or an 11U baseball tournament, something like that. And it was a travel tournament. So you had to be a certain organization. Well, this turns out AAU team from New Jersey enters this tournament. And of course they're rolling over on people, and the coach is hella aggressive and they're like being shady about it. Of course. So they make the second day of the championships and the semifinals, and it's starting to work its way around the ballpark, and the coach is answering the phone on the third baseline, like about how, the validity of his team. And of course they can't, because they let them in, they had to kind of let them finish out the tournament because they collected the fees and everything. But cool. You collected a trophy for your baseball academy with all of these summer travel programs, neat. But it was just so shady. And now, obviously, well, we're not going to let them enter again. Obviously, but you let them in I just feel like the importance is the due diligence of all of it.
Oh yeah. But there's no real way, even with the validity of the kids being old enough or being too old, or not being or not fitting in these things. There's all these different these organizations that don't do things the right way. They're looking for.
But if this team must be able to short their quota of trophies for the summer. So in order to fill up their display case, be oh yes, come to our school. We've won 27 baseball trophies in this past year. They had to enter a lower level tournament to steal a trophy from other kids.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's just there's no real way to check who people are, and anybody can do it. Honestly, anybody could be an AAU coach, for real. There's no real requirements other than having the time to practice the kids, which in reality is really kind of stupid. But what do I know?
No, stuff. I think.
All right, let's jump on to something else.
I think you know stuffs.
I know a little bit of something.
I know a little something, something. I do miss the wheel sound, man. That's always fun.
Ooh.
This is all you. You were excited for this one. Do the thing.
Oh, man. So, first off, number one, we're going to talk about Mikey Williams. This is a sad situation. The kid is the number one high school prospect. He's been a top-notch prospect coming out of high school for, I think, since he was in the 8th grade. He kind of moved around during COVID. He ended up in North Carolina playing while California shut down and they didn't have a league. Mikey Williams is a highly touted recruit, huge jumper, great vertical leap. But now he's dealing with some legal troubles. It seems to be some maybe aggravated assault with intent to kill with a gun. He took a mugshot, and this is like the saddest thing because they're going to charge him as an adult. So to be completely honest about it, this is a cautionary tale for most, athletes. Like, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of, it's kind of par for the course in that sense. But I think when you think about Mikey Williams and what he's going through the years, we've seen other great prep athletes go through something very similar. The Allen Iversons of the world, Kevin Garnett, Jermaine O'Neal, just to name a few. They all kind of had legal troubles trying to make it out of the high school. And I don't know if it's just the age or it's just the trap of like just trying to make it through it to get to the next level because what's next. You kind of overlook what's now. And what's now is you got to get out of this and you can't make dumb mistakes. Like I said, playing dumb games to get those dumb prizes. So I just was my thought process on that. I don't have too much more to say about it because I don't want to damn him in the eye of public opinion before we know all the facts. But just even having the gun was kind of stupid. Just at your age and knowing what you got, it's just dumb to even have the gun, to be real. Like I remember when guys used to just fight, and that was just like the end of it. Like we got into a fight. Now it's like guns are the first thing that comes out.
I'm gonna say some stuff.
Go ahead.
And it could be controversial, and it could be pointing the blame at the wrong person.
You say I'm a rant.
But isn't it interesting that Memphis recruit Mikey Williams just got into trouble with a gun? Isn't it interesting that we just had all of these issues with Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies and him trying to live that thug lifestyle? And I'm using that phrase because, and again, I'm not calling him a thug. Please do not cancel me because I'm, calling. No, I'm not. I'm saying, but he's trying to live that lifestyle. And that's what he portrayed, with the strip club and the guns and the monies and all that stuff, right? Now you've got somebody who had a huge social media following. He was going to Memphis. He was going to play for Penny Hardaway. We got issues. We already know that, Brandon Miller, the guy from Alabama, he's going to be a top 5 pick, has gun stuff surrounding him. You have Imani Bates, who played at Memphis last year, got gun stuff following him. When we talk about professional athletes, whether or not they want to be being role models, this is the issue.
Yep.
This is the issue. So you know what? Maybe you didn't sign up to be a role model, but when you are a professional athlete and you are one of the one-name stars of the NBA, you are expected to act a certain way. Because when you don't, the younger generation looks up to you and they go, well, if Ja should do it, and if Ja can do it, I can do it. And you are helping contribute to the ruining of kids' lives.
I detect no lies there. I'm gonna be honest. I had a lot to take. I don't any because it's big. It's a little bigger than that too, and especially
of course it is.
Especially in our communities, like I grew up in a kind of urban area, like in South Carolina, and just to be honest, we talked about this when Ja first got in trouble. Like Sumter's not really like that. They're not that type of thug place like that. So to kind of see him going down that path with the guns and whatnot. Even Eric's saying right here, stop being who you're not. They're just playing the game you're playing. And to be real with you, we got guys that we pay a lot of money to play a children's game, and some of them have not grown up to be the role model that they should be.
But how can they grow up? Part of the reason why they stopped drafting kids right out of high school, part of the reason is because the maturity wasn't there to have that level of wealth, right? And for the most part, like Kobe Bryant is kind of the exception. Like his game did transcend. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Kwame LeBron James, the game did transcend. But like Kwame Brown, the game didn't transcend. You know what I mean? You have some of these guys going in for 1 year and then getting out and then getting their millions of dollars. Like you had to adjust the way that things were being done. And these high school kids, you know, we saw the cautionary tales, you know, with the Henry Ruggses and these children who have been the star of every room they've walked into are all of a sudden being told like, no, you can't do that. And it's irresponsible. That's why, like, I really do like what the NFL does, which is that rookie symposium, which is like a requirement. Like, hey, this is how you get your monies in order. This is how you do this. This is how you do. Like, it's important. The NBA needs that.
They all need it. It's not just an NBA thing.
I know it is, but we focus so much on the NBA, especially because we're talking about mostly people of color playing this game.
And the money is guaranteed. So
right.
It's like it's really hard to measure money up in the NBA unless you measure money up.
Like baseball, you got to work your way up through the minors, you know, on buses and garbage stadiums where, you know, you're the El Luchadors for a night and then you're the Reading Hot Dogs the next night. Like you earn your way up in baseball.
Right.
But either way, you know, hitting a fastball and hitting a curveball, you can either do it or you can't. Hockey, nobody gives a shit about hockey. Let's call it like it is. Nobody gives a shit about hockey. It is the whitest sport ever. But football, they have so many players that they have to do that. Basketball, because each team is composed of 15 players, right? Maybe you got two two-way guys, and then you've got your developmental league. Like an organization is really only responsible for, let's say at most, I'm going to say 30, 35 athletes.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a fair number per organization?
So the Sixers were about, when I was in Philly, the Sixers were about maybe 40 because they kept some guys that were tweeners. They were between the blue coats. I mean, and so they got some tweeners. So you got to look at the tweeners and guys that are playing down. So I guess about between 35 and 40.
But so either way, like, and you're getting this guaranteed money. You're getting these guys who, again, like if you're a bench player, you're a bench player. Like you're just happy to be on the bench somewhere.
Right.
But these professionals, and again, I love the game of basketball, but being roped into this bigger than life lifestyle, like there's cameras everywhere now. There's social media everywhere now. Everything you say, do, whatever is judged. And the problem is that because of that, because every single character is being retweeted, every single thing, like we're going to talk about, you know, Ben Simmons in a couple of minutes when he's like, oh, I hope to never be swept again and be a part of a team that's swept. Like, oh, come over to Brooklyn. 2 years later, right?
You're a jerk for that. I knew you were going to take that.
But they bring it back up. It cycles back. So these youth athletes, these guys, these impressionable young men are begging for any kind of role model. We know that is a problem, especially in the African-American community, where they are begging for role models. And if your role models are people like Ja Morant, you're going to have gun problems.
Well, and I think it's just like it's not just, so you know, they always say like hip hop and sports always collide. They always meet. The whole thing right now and we know this because we're educators, the whole thing is the drill music. The drill music is really bad right now. And it's like getting kids hyped up to go kill people. It's like basically, hey, like you can't be tough unless you get a body, like you catch a body. And that's just like, that's crazy to me to think that like we grew up, the music was good if you had a girl, like if you could get a girl, like if you could have the girls that love you, which our parents thought at the time was just like racy. But I'm thinking, I bet you now, like if our parents were looking and listening to the music they listen to now, they would just be upset. Like it's crazy.
The nursing home in 30 years is going to be lit.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. They're going to be twerking in that wheelchair.
You're going to see people just rolling out to, nowadays everybody want to talk. They got something to say, but nothing comes out.
But see, that's just it. Like even with the M&Ms of the world, some of them were street, and some of it was trap, and some of it with all that, but it wasn't as much.
But it had a
as
message at least.
Like, hey, everybody's killing everybody. Like, I kill and it's not just men, it's women singing about this crap now. It's women singing drill music. Like, hey, like I'm gonna do something to you when I see you, and I'm gonna be wearing my pink Louboutins. Like, what is happening right now?
There is a mental health epidemic in this country.
Like, people want to kill things so badly, and it's like because I think it's just like video games and all that other stuff too. It's like if they think everything's gonna respawn, like it's just gonna come. I'm gonna shoot it, and it's gonna
There's
come
no
back.
there's no consequence.
Yeah, there's no consequence to it. Like, and even if you got to do the bid for the crime now, I ain't no snitch. I'm not this, that, and the third. And I'm like you shouldn't be catching a body at 16, 17 years old. Like, and you know how bad it is in Philly with the guns and the violence and all that for years. It was like
Chicago just had a huge issue with youth violence, and they're like, oh, well, the mayor-elect's not doing anything. What is he going to do? The parents have got to do what they like. You need parents, but the problem is that the parents currently are children themselves.
Or they are working because you need two parents to work in the household. Like, that wasn't always the case.
No.
Like, I grew up in a house that my mom stayed home with us. Like, you cannot afford, like me and Sarah were just talking about this. Like, you can't, like, now as a human male, as a grown man and a grown woman, you as parents cannot physically stay home with your children and be able to put food on the table. It's just impossible. And if you are, you're on some type of government assistance, which is not what you should be wanting to do anyway. So it's not showing that thing. So it's either mom works in the daytime and dad works at night, and then they're patching ships, which will mean they'll eventually be divorced because they'll just be patching ships in the night. And then, or they're both at work at the same time. Their marriage may survive, but they lose their kids because they are latchkey kids or whatever. So there's all these different elements that go into this stuff that nobody thinks about, but we live in a world now, like, you have to do this. Like, this just what the world is. Like, you cannot afford.
Here's the perfect example, right? I had 2 students today come into school late. And of course, the students volunteered information like, oh, yeah, we called an Uber here. Now, I want to remind you, I teach middle school. So these are 7th grade, 11 and 12 and 13-year-old girls.
Yeah.
And they got into an Uber. Now, by Uber's community guidelines, because I double-checked it before I sent the message to the parents, like, hey, did you know right? Uber is by law and by their community policy not allowed to accept like a ride from anybody under 18. So like if my teenager calls for an Uber, they're not supposed to accept it. And like when they pull up, they're like, skirt, nope, not happening. Or they're not supposed to put kids in their car unaccompanied by an adult if they're under 18. And again, that's from Uber themselves. Like, that Uber driver should get thrown off. So, of course, I messaged the parents like, hey, like, just want to let you know that they can't do that. And the mom's like, they got to school. They're safe. I'll get in there any way I can. I'm like, you're right.
Because
like,
you're
wrong. You're wrong, but you're also right.
Because, like, think of the alternative. The alternative, they don't come to school and they become truant. And then that parent's in trouble because they can't get a kid to school, but they have to be to work at 7:30 or maybe 6:30, depending on what the job is.
Well, and the one mom's like, my car was just totaled. Like, I'm working out what I can. So again, like what I'm saying, I'm like, you're wrong to do it, but I respect you for doing it at the same time.
Because you have no choice.
So I didn't push the issue. I kind of just made sure that everybody was aware of it. I'm like, look, I'm just looking out because, child endangerment and child kidnapping is a thing.
Yeah. And especially if you can't get your kid bus to school.
My building is a walking building. Like 80% of my students walk. I think we have 3 buses total, and they're all special ed buses.
That's crazy. So, I mean, that's just a part of it, man. Like, I mean, we could go through this like in the nausea, like I said.
I mean, well, again, I always joke, like, I love chatting with you because, while we do the whole ebony and ivory thing of it all, like, we do see the world.
Yes.
In at least a respectful, real way back and forth between the two of us.
For sure. And it's always like, hey, like, these are the facts. Like, let's give me the facts. I don't care about your emotion in it. Give me the facts of the whole thing.
Yeah.
What we got?
I don't know. We got a whole bunch of stuff. I love, by the way, Eric, like, I appreciate you listening in, man. This is, you're rocking with us. What do we got? Oh,
Oh, I'm not getting. I'm gonna let you talk about this, but I'm feeling not hopeful. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go and take this.
Well, it has happened, everybody.
And it's done.
The Philadelphia Sixers have entered their second and final round of the season.
Okay. I'm with you.
The Philadelphia 76ers dominated a bad Brooklyn Nets team.
Really bad Brooklyn Nets.
A Brooklyn Nets team that sold everybody off. They got rid of Kevin Durant. They gave us Harden last year for peanuts. I think his name is pronounced Ben Simmons, but peanuts. Mikal Bridges is now even closer to the Sixers where he should have been all along, but cool for him. We got the delinquent Curry, not the real Curry. I love Seth Curry. I just don't like him on the other team.
I mean, it's not his fault they got traded. He got traded by his father-in-law, by the way.
Yo, that's harsh.
Out of all the
Philadelphia 76ers went out and they dominated a bad team. That's what good teams are supposed to do. They got in and out. The series wasn't a dominating series. They won the games. The ejection. Okay, so let's talk about game 3 just for a minute, right quick. JD, you've been around basketball for maybe 5 minutes or so.
Just a little while.
How the hell can you eject James Harden in game 3 of a playoff for that?
As me as like a coach, I'm going crazy. Like
I am getting myself ejected.
Yeah, I'm getting kicked out. But like at the same time, like you kind of don't even need to put yourself in that position. It's kind of like he's a vet. He should know better.
Sure. But now flashback to the beginning of that game where Joel Embiid is practicing his Joel Embiid, like whatever you want to call it, and straight up kicking motherfuckers and doesn't get kicked out of the game. So we've talked about like what the refs let happen, what the refs let go. So if you're going to allow Joel Embiid to karate kick a motherfucker, how are you going to let James Harden be ejected for?
Okay, so the elbow, I think they were trying to get control of the game. I honestly believe they didn't want to. But like if you've been around NBA and you've been around basketball refs, like there's no real continuity in it all. Like, with umpires, there's a lot of times if you want to call it, you're gonna call a strike zone a strike. You're gonna call a strike the whole game.
The good ones, yeah,
the good ones. It's like basketball's not like that because a foul on this end ain't always a foul on that end. You know what I'm saying? So it's always that back and forth. And just to be real with you, I don't know how you throw him out for it. I mean, I can say giving him a tag, but like just throwing him out is crazy. And then you see Adam right here saying, "Do you think that Embiid will be back around in time for the second round?"
Well, I would like to address this because Joel Embiid is so hungry to win an MVP award, and I do feel like this will be the year he gets it. I really do.
If he doesn't, at some point, it's just like stop trying.
At this point, yeah. That he has been overdoing it in the regular season. So he doesn't practice the load management anymore. So by the time that he's getting to the playoffs, I mean, he is dog ass tired. We saw it last year. We're seeing it again this year. I do think that he will play in round 2. I think he will be back for game 2 of round 2.
I mean, it really depends on when the series ends, I'll be honest with you.
Let them beat the hell out of each other.
I would say 7 games. The best thing for Joel Embiid is that the series is dragged out.
Right.
And that's the best thing for the Sixers. So if you're a Sixer fan, you should be praying for a longer series, and so there's more rest and recuperation time for Joel Embiid.
Right. The Celtics in a longer series, not. Yeah. We hope for another 4-game series. But now I heard something today, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
So we all know that this Sixers team is probably not the best version of the Sixers team that we've seen in recent years. I mean, that's my personal take. I think the Jimmy Butler season was the better season, obviously, just because Jimmy Butler is who he is. Right. Now, Harden has been playing pretty well. Maxey's been playing much better. Tobias Harris finally stepped up when he had to. But we know that's not consistent and going to continue to happen. If the Sixers get knocked out in the second round, and I know your answer on this, but I want to ask it for the people. Should Glenn Rivers be fired?
I'm not a fan of Glenn Rivers, but I would say if they don't make it out of the second round, you tear the whole thing down. It's just at some point, like the bones of it aren't good, and it's been the same set of bones for the longest. And I don't know if can you fault Joel? No, but Joel's the one consistent factor that's been there since the beginning of this thing, and it may be time to move on from maybe the big because the NBA isn't based on bigs anymore. Like it just really isn't. So you need a more.
I disagree. The NBA is based on bigs now.
No, let me explain. So when you look at your marquee guys throughout the league, you're going to mention a couple bigs, but most of the marquee guys are all guards. They're going to be your two guards or guys that are heavy controllers of the ball. Like Curry is one of the top players in the game. LeBron is still one of the top guys in the game. You still got guys like Tatum, like younger guys, younger guards that are coming up. When you look at Joel Embiid and Jokic, they're like a dying point to say that they're true bigs. So it's like, to be real with you, or maybe Giannis, but those three bigs, there's only three of them, but you can name 50,000 guards. So it's a guards league. If you have a big, you're in the minority, but they don't always win. Like the bigs haven't won championships since Giannis won one when Milwaukee won. So it's like you don't have that every year. Joel hasn't been out the second round. Jokic hasn't been out the second round. So even though they're MVP candidates, that doesn't necessarily yield a championship.
But it's all the MVP candidates. All the MVP candidates are. And you know who's the presumptive number one pick in the draft this year?
I feel like it should be the big kid from WhatCon, isn't it?
The 6'7" kid who's a big man who can play like a guard.
Oh, the 7'6" kid. Victor Allenbano. Oh,
yeah, that dude. Yeah, yep. I personally feel that because at this point you're just stuck in the second round. If they lose again in the second round, then you need a new voice. It's the logic of, you know what, you can't get over that hurdle, and we've given you everything we can. Let's try a new voice. And I agree with Adam explicitly here. Like hire Sam Cassell right there on the spot.
I think you hire Sam, but I think you need to look to move forward. Because what happened is we had everybody when they brought Morey here, and a lot of people said I was hating on Morey, but I really wasn't. I just know that he's not a great GM. He will move big things, but those pieces that he moves don't necessarily equal anything. They're just big chess moves. Like if you take somebody's queen, doesn't mean you win in chess. That just means you took their queen.
Yeah, but they didn't take the queen. They borrowed the queen from another chessboard, which was they discovered in a Houston swap meet.
Yes, they got them, and it's basically he just turned it into the Houston.
They went to a Houston garage sale, and
got some used Houston clothes.
And got some used pieces.
And at the same time, you know, like you can't fault the guys. They still got to go out there and play. I think that there's been some mistakes that Doc Rivers has made over the years, and they just kind of looked over because he's supposed to be a great coach because he's got a championship.
Would you question Pop in such a way?
No, I wouldn't question Pop because Pop wouldn't be making these type of dumbass decisions in the middle of the game. But I just got a feeling that like if you're looking at it from a perspective of a real ball player, or you're watching from a coach perspective, Doc's just made too many mistakes in games that he should have been able to win that he wasn't.
Same mistake over and over again. It's the definition of insanity. He needs to go see a doc.
Yeah, and it's like at this point in the game, like I don't trust him. I know the Celtics stuff. Everybody like leans on him winning at the Celtics, but he hasn't been in the Celtics in 10 or 15 years at this point, maybe 20.
Like for me, I think the mismanagement of a player like Paul Reed is everything you need to know about Doc. Like,
it's rough.
I think that you look at the team that he won a championship with, and we always mention like you had 3 Hall of Famers. Like you got I could have managed the team there, but the development of players, like I attribute every single step of Tyrese Maxey's success to Sam Cassell. I attribute every single bit of development of Paul Reed to Sam Cassell.
And it's just if you keep saying it long enough, not only will it hit you, but it'll dawn on you that like, dang man, he really has screwed the pooch on this thing. Like even the Sixers for the last 10 years have been the biggest disappointment in basketball.
Agreed.
Because
they've been right there.
They've been right there. They had the year with Jimmy Butler, and instead of you getting rid of maybe Ben or getting rid of Brett Brown or whoever was holding him back, you let him go to keep the piece that there weren't, like, either you're just really bad at this or you're guessing wrong every time. And so if you're guessing wrong at this, you're really bad at this. So I don't know, man. I just get a feeling that, like, at the end of the day, we're all going to be kind of just like kicking ourselves in the butt because it's not going to work out the way we think it's going to work out.
I tend to agree. To the wheel. Got a couple more left. I miss this, man. This is good stuff.
I don't have a whole lot on the draft. So
I don't have a whole lot either. I got to do a whole show on Wednesday with the AAT Birds people.
We'll skip that.
I agree. We're going to have enough draft talk over the next couple of days. The wheel spoke.
We're not talking back.
We'll see what happens.
We're not speaking back.
CJ Stroud, number 1 overall pick. Moving on.
This is what I do want to talk
about. And we're off.
So this is a big one right here because this is a moment where we got some Colorado talk, some college talk. That's my cup of tea is the college football game. And I am a huge believer in Deion Sanders. I'm a huge believer in Coach Prime. He is a master motivator. He is a great marketer. He is a guy that can get guys that will run through a wall for him. So I want to say this. The spring game, the year before, there was a graphic up online where they showed a picture of the spring game before Deion got there. There was nobody there. Like, you could have legitimately picked any place in that stadium and you could have laid full out, like laid flat on all the seats, and you still would have had 75 other rows to go through. This day that they have the new spring game, it is packed to the cup full of Colorado fans. They are fired up about Deion Sanders and Coach Prime and, Shardare Sanders and all these guys that are there. They think that they have a chance to win a national championship. They probably won't. I'm just going to throw it out there. They probably won't.
They won't.
But it's just that he's going to be the thing that changes the concept, because Colorado is not a destination place to go play. It is cold as all get out. They may have a little money. They have a lot of money actually, but they just don't have. It's not a destination place. It's not a Miami. It's not Florida State. It's not none of these places. So you really have to recruit there, and I think Deion has done a great job of
because that's the draw. The draw is Deion.
Yeah, it's Prime. He's a professional, ex-professional. He's going to get you in front of the right eyes. You're going to have your best chance to make it to the league if you get under Coach Prime. And then he's just done a master job at social media. Like, the dude's got a crazy social media following, and honestly, has a great marketing team. So yeah, that's all I want to say about that. As an Eagles person, I cannot stand Deion Sanders,
the former Cowboy.
He hasn't been a Cowboy in 30 years.
There was a pause for emphasis. I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. I'm sorry.
The fact that I understood what you were saying is shows that I'm way too tired to be on.
However, Deion Sanders, when he was coaching at his prior school, was the draw, and he put his own money and he built that program back from the ground up.
Yes.
So everybody gave him shit for then kind of going to a Division I school, to which he came in and said, you know what? They were taking my money. It wasn't coming back to it was not the right program. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to continue to do things my way. Now in the middle of Colorado, you have Prime doing his thing. And what interested me the most is he came in day one and said, none of y'all are starters. None of you have earned your spots. You're not getting practice jerseys with your numbers and your names on it. You have not earned jack shit. And then he comes in.
Yeah, that portal.
And I believe the number is now 24 kids from Colorado had entered the portal. Why? Because and this is just crazy.
He told him to hit the portal.
He said, hit the portal. I'm holding you accountable. And they are shocked that he is holding them accountable. I love Deion Sanders, the college football coach, because he is interested in developing young men to be football players. And it ties way back to our John Morant conversation. You saw Deion Sanders, who had the swag, but he never crossed that line into thuggery. He never crossed that line into misbehavior. Like, he was loud and obnoxious, and, he got a lot of shit for it when he was playing because, let's be honest, the world wasn't ready for loud, obnoxious black guys who then backed up what they did on the field.
And plus, he had a battle against Jerry Rice for a majority of
his career. And then he would, intercept the ball and then go hit a home run. Like, he did his thing. Like, he was that guy. So now he goes in and he goes, listen, this is how I was successful. These are my work ethics. These are my beliefs. Here are my Super Bowl rings. I'm a Hall of Fame player. Take it or leave it, but this is what I know works. And some players are like, well, it's really tough. I'm going to enter the transfer portal. He's like, I don't need you here anyway. I want the players he wants a Jalen Hurts mentality type player. That guy who's going to put the work in and not fall into all the other shit that can swirl around these superstar young kids.
That's true. I have no rebuttals there.
I do. I really like the fact that they're bringing accountability back to the college football game.
Fair enough. I'm not going to fight you on that.
Only 3 topics left. When you're a jet all the way.
Gosh. This freaking guy.
It finally happened.
Yep.
He was traded allegedly like a month ago, and then like nothing.
Yeah, it was radio silence. I ain't gonna lie.
And then they're like, oh, yes, we have not completed the trade yet. We should probably do that before the NFL draft.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then they did that today. And they swapped literally 15 for 13 as far as picks go. Mm-hmm. And then they gave him an absolute stacking of picks for later years. I personally feel that the Packers won this trade.
Yeah, of course they did.
The Packers won the trade.
He didn't want to be there anymore. He was over it.
He didn't want to be there anymore. They had Jordan Love getting ready to leave. Now, I do not think anything of Jordan Love. I think that he is going to suck in the NFL.
He's the second coming of Carson Wentz.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I won't even give him that much credit.
Dang.
I will not even give him that much credit. I think that he is at best, a practice squad quarterback.
Wow.
I think nothing of Jordan Love. I think that they made a mistake drafting him all those years ago. I think it put a bitter taste in Aaron Rodgers' crazy ass mouth for all of these years. I think having Jordan Love sit on the sideline has put a bad taste in Jordan Love's mouth. I think that the first opportunity that Jordan Love gets to go elsewhere, he will, because he will remember that he had to sit on the bench for a not as good Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of years. I think that Aaron Rodgers is absolutely fleecing the Jets. I think that Zach Wilson is getting screwed because of it, even though I don't think much of Zach Wilson. I think that this whole trade just stinks for the NFL. This is not good for anybody. I think it would have been best if Aaron Rodgers retired. Joe Namath is coming out going, oh, well, he can wear number 12. No, he can wear number 8. I mean, like, this is not just because Aaron Rodgers is following the Brett Favre plan to a T. Like, he's going to be a Jet this year, and then he'll be a Minnesota Viking the following year, and then he'll maybe come out of retirement for the next 3 years, and then he'll sell Wranglers.
Yep, or hippie stuff, because he's a hippie,
or whatever a hippie pair of jeans is.
Listen, you're not gonna get me to talk about this. I could care less about Aaron Rodgers. He's 3 years over the hill. So.
Yeah, and they talk about how he was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I disagree.
He's a gunslinger, but at some point, that gunslinging stuff is going to get old.
Choke artist
in the playoffs for sure. Yeah, I can't. I'm not even going to give him any type of pub on this one. So if you've said everything you need to say,
I've said it all. I think that both teams screwed each other.
This is terrible.
There's a mutual humpery. All right.
Ooh, stories. Let's go.
I have done 20 games so far this summer. I've done 20 games so far this summer.
20 games.
20 games, and it is only April. I have all ages, and I've come across all of the coaches who don't know jack diddly about the sport that they coach. I have Not had to eject anybody because I'm a really good game manager, but I had to give some warning. So I'm going to share just a few stories that I've had over my first couple of games. And JD, I'm going to ask 2 situational questions to see if you got the call right that the coaches did not.
Probably not, but okay.
Okay. So here is my first stupid story.
Okay.
I am doing an 11U baseball game.
Okay.
Right. So these are 11-year-olds. We do the plate meeting and we're talking about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the one team is they look like they're the better team. So they're hitting the ball hard, like in the warm-ups, and they're throwing the ball hard, and they got everything crisp, and it's great. We get to the plate meeting, and I'm like, hey, I want to remind everybody that there is no head first sliding at the 11U level. Okay. Whoa. What do you mean? I didn't know that was a rule. I said, yeah, it's absolutely a rule. There is no head first slide and back to a bag. You can head first slide back to a bag, but there's no head first sliding at all.
Okay.
Even into home plate. Especially in the home plate, coach.
You're going to slide to more than likely.
Especially you cannot slide head first in the home plate. Well, that's not a rule. We're going to get a warning if we do it. Coach, consider this your warning. There is no head first sliding tonight. Oh, well, that's not a rule. Coach, we haven't even thrown the first pitch yet. Am I already giving you a warning?
This is crazy.
And this is an assistant coach, 11U baseball. There is no head first. There is no head first sliding. Coaches, there are no head first sliding. So it's like a very grumpy environment.
Okay, fair enough.
Between the first inning, so 3 batters out in that window before the next 3 batters come up after the inning. Coach goes, oh, you know what? I forgot that. So there's in Little League Baseball, there's Babe Ruth and there is Cal Ripken. There's 2 like sub branches. And apparently they operate under a different rule set. Because he goes, oh, well, I forgot that we're Cal Ripken and, we can head first slide in our league, but they're Babe Ruth and we're playing on their home field. So you were right. Coach, you almost got yourself ejected before the first pitch because you were arguing about your kids sliding head first at 11 years old.
Which is dangerous to them anyway, by the way.
I can't handle stupid anymore. I can't.
You stop playing. You gotta tell these guys to stop playing stupid games, so they're gonna keep winning stupid prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
two situations.
All right, let's do it.
And I got the call right because I'm just that damn good. But I want to see if you get the call right.
You know I'm gonna miss this, right? I just want to let you know.
One was a game that I was umping, and one was a game tonight that I was coaching, and I had to basically be restrained by our head coach because I was ready to jump over the fence at the umpire who blew the call.
Okay, let's do it.
Here's the situation. Pitch comes in, hits the ground, hits the batter.
He's out.
He's out.
I don't know.
You're just like, he's out.
He hits the ground.
So the pitcher pitches, right? Okay. Hits the ground and then goes right from the ground and into the batter's leg. It hits the batter.
Does he just take the base because he gets hit with a ball?
I just need you to lock in some sort of answer.
I think I'm gonna go with it's a foul ball or it's a ball. It's a ball. It's a ball.
Just a ball. He's got to stay in the hit.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not taking it. He's not taking it. Well, hold on, let me see. Wait. I feel like it's a trick question, so I think he takes the base because he got hit with the ball.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it. Yes.
The only thing on a pitch that hits the ground that I cannot call as the umpire is a called strike.
Got you. Even if he swings at it.
Right. If he swings at it, I can call it a strike because it hit the ground. He swung at it.
Right.
But it's obviously if it hits the ground, it's not in the strike zone. Well, this was 11 and 12-year-old rec baseball. Like it's an in-house game. Whoa. You can't send him to first base. Yes, I can. But it hit the ground first. Okay. And then it hit him. But it hit the ground first. Coach, the only thing I can't call is a called strike. I'm like, let me ask you this, Coach. If the ball hits the ground and he swings at it, would you like me to call a strike? He goes, well, of course. I'm like,
because the ball's still in play.
It's an immediate dead ball.
Wow, I like it. The fact that I got that right I know your tricks. I know your tricks, Mariachi.
Here's the second one.
All right.
There is a runner on first
Okay.
and a runner on third.
Mm-hmm.
This is important. Pitch comes in. The batter hits it.
Okay, boom.
It hits the runner going from first to second.
He's out.
Correct. Where does everybody else go?
Which runner got hit?
The one going from first to second.
He's out, and then he's out. The one at third stays at third, and then the one at first takes first base.
So explain to me how you got that call right, and this umpire tonight blew the call. Here's what he got. He got the runner that got hit with the ball out.
Okay, fair enough. Easy.
He gave the batter first base.
He tried to send a third home.
No, not tried. Did. He scored the runner. And I said, that's not the rule. And he goes, well, he was already almost there, so I can't send him back.
If you had the ball right there and the ball was in the catcher's mitt and he was trying to score, you could throw the ball and play that.
You're not allowed to reward the batting team for interference.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so after the inning, because I had at that point made it known that I umpire actually for the same guy who assigns him. So like we work for the same guy, which I find interesting. He's like, I think I may have gotten that one wrong. I'm like, you did.
For sure.
So if we lose by one, I'm going to be upset. Now, mind you, it's 9 and 10-year-old baseball. It's not worth me blowing a stack over.
Right.
But at the plate meetings, one of the things I always say is I'm like, listen, fair and foul, safe and out, ball and strike, catch and no catch are judgment calls and not arguable. However, if you have a question about a rule, please call timeout and go to the umpire that made the call.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's not a judgment call. It was a misapplication of the rule.
Listen,
you have to know the rules.
Maybe I'm up next. Maybe my next calling is to be an umpire. You know what I'm saying?
I'll train you real quick.
You've been training me just through this whole thing. I don't know if you noticed. Like you used to didn't get any of these right, and now I'm getting like I haven't missed.
Now you're pretty good with them, yeah. But it blows my mind. So again, when I talk about things like the pitch clock, like that's why I struggle because I already have so many rules kind of going through my head. That like that's where I get frustrated. I'm like, oh my god, I also have to pay attention to a stopwatch. Like, come on now.
Fair enough.
So,
all right, you ready?
Those are my umpire stories. Final topic of the evening is it's Draymond.
Draymond
is a punk ass.
Big stepper. The big stepper.
Now, Sabonis was wrong too.
Yes.
Sabonis was wrong too. I'm not gonna take it away from him. But Draymond is a punk ass, and he's been a punk ass his whole career. And the only reason why he is, there are people going, well, he should be in the Hall of Fame. False. Absolute falsity. Absolute falsity.
Isn't Bill Laimbeer in the Hall of Fame too, though?
Bill Laimbeer was the centerpiece of that Detroit Pistons team. Him and Isaiah Thomas were the centerpieces of that team.
Dude, you do. Everybody knows who Draymond Green. He's one of the people that he only goes by one name. Like Draymond is a part. He's very similar to Bill.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
False.
I'm serious. The only reason I say this is because is Dennis Rodman a Hall of Famer?
As the greatest rebounder in NBA history, yes.
Okay. So he's in there. Bill Laimbeer is in there. There's all these guys who are part of that same like bad boy class. So you have to put Draymond in.
Will be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, he will be.
I don't think he should be.
I think he will be, and he should be. He's got multiple. I will say he may be a punk. I didn't ask you if you thought he was a punk or not. I just wanted you to know that his accolades and his stats and what he means for those team who's won multiple championships. Because without him, they've struggled. You know what I'm saying? So he's a huge piece of that team. He does all the other little stuff. Like, yeah, he may bang people up, but that's his job is to be an agitator.
True.
And his job is he's not gonna score a bunch of points, but he defends your best player, and what he's gonna do is he's gonna cause chaos.
And he's gonna knock him off his game, sure.
Yep. And that's the only way that Curry and them can play freely because he's causing so much chaos on his end. So he is a Hall of Famer.
I do not agree. I think that at some point the style of play, like it's a different style. Like when you talk about Lambeer and Robin and things like that, that was the style of the 80s and 90s. Like that's how you played the damn game. That's no longer how you play the game. So it stands out. It stands out as an outlier that he still does play that way.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that he's different. Like now we got guys like Draymond is severely undersized to play the position that he plays. Like he's severely undersized. So he has to do something to equal the playing field. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that it's him.
I think that in the playoffs, I don't think that you can, like, you have to have some level of composure. And for him to, like, and again, I blame Sabonis for his part of it.
Yeah.
Sabonis does not get off easy. I think they both should have been ejected.
Right.
Like,
I just think that
we're not going to play that way.
I just think that the step on him was so egregious in the moment.
Egregiously bad.
It was just so egregious in the moment that like there's no way you can look past it. So you have to kick him out immediately because he not only rolls him over with his foot, but he then steps on him and like tries to do some like weird little hop like he didn't mean to do it. Like, and it's
and
like
I think at some point, like, and you're starting to see this a little bit with even Joel Embiid. Like, you're starting to get a reputation as like a dirty player. Like Draymond is a dirty player.
Yes.
Draymond is a dirty player.
For sure.
Joel's starting to get that reputation because he's got stuff over multiple seasons now where like he'll react in a way and it doesn't look good. I don't think Joel is a dirty player. I think that he is a emotional player at the wrong times.
I will not fault you for saying that.
Draymond is a dirty, dirty basketball player.
He is. He's the guy that you play with in like a pickup league who like holds your jersey and will try to get you to fight him and just to get you off your rocker, or they'll put him on the best player and he'll just trash talk him. He's very similar to Dylan Brooks, and everybody's giving Dylan Brooks a hard time. He's very similar. So I mean, we're watching Draymond and then baby Draymond on the other end. So like against the Lakers. So they're very similar players. If anybody's got money on the game, if you get to see them play against each other, I think that they fight before the end of it.
Oh, no doubt. Especially if it gets like down to the wire contentious.
Like chippy, yeah.
Yo, how about the fact that Milwaukee's going to get bounced in the first round?
Yep.
Because Miami's up 3-1 on them.
Listen, man, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. So Draymond sucks. That's all I got.
That's all I got. I can't physically put any more effort into talking about Draymond.
I agree.
We got through the whole wheel, dude.
We got through the whole wheel. Like if you look at the wheel right now, open it back up.
I'm gonna show the people. It's nothing.
I wonder if can I still spin it? Hold on. Nope. It's spinless.
We've broken the wheel. We've broken the wheel.
We really did.
So hopefully we won't go 3 or 4 weeks without talking to you guys again. I mean, we just had a whole lot of stuff going on. I know I did. Had a couple of weeks, especially on Mondays, trying to get it in, get it out. He's like, what do you say? What do you think about the call with Brooks and LBJ? It's LeBron. He's going to get the calls that he wants. And
he's going to get the calls that he wants. He's going to put up the points that he wants. He's going to make the effort that he wants. The fact that the Lakers are in the playoffs is, neat. Playoffs. If they happen to get by Memphis, they are losing in the second round to either Sacramento or Golden State. No questions.
Yeah, it's like they're playing for third or fourth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I will say this. Since we did get through the complete wheel, I do appreciate you being here. Chip, where can they find you if they want to find more stuff from you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. If you're interested in my football takes, you can find me at Chip for the Birds. I will be on Wednesday night on the All About the Birds special draft preview show, where I think I'm moderating because I do things like that. And of course, if you are interested in some more of my baseball-y takes, you can find me at Umpire Stories, where I will tell all kinds of things, including, again, one more from this weekend. I was doing an 11, 12-year-old game, and apparently they forgot to send catchers So I'm back there behind the plate and I'm getting drilled over and over again. And we are talking like, here comes the pitch, and the catcher like doesn't move, and I get hit. And I get hit in the face. I got hit in the back. I wear all this gear and I somehow got hit in the back. I got hit dead in the toe. And I walked over to the coach and said, listen to me. I said, I get it. It's a rec league. I get you don't have catchers. If I get hit one more time without, I don't deserve to be cannon fodder. So if I get hit one more time without it even being slowed down, I'm going behind the mound and calling the rest of the game, which only hurts your team.
Fair enough.
And he's like, I'll see what I can do. I'm like, could you please?
That's safe.
So you get little gems like that on my umpire story pages, where I am the shenaniganer supreme. I got a whole bunch of games over the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested to tune in what kind of craziness I'm dealing with, umpire stories, and of course at Chip for the Birds, where I will weigh in on this Eagles draft class once we have an Eagles draft class.
I'm excited for it. If you guys want to find me, you can find me at D2N Pods and at KedCads_TM. And I am the obvious outsider because obviously I'm outside of everything that most people think when it comes to sports. And then honestly, I'm kind of down on the energy. I took like a Claritin before we started this thing, and that thing's kicking all the way in. I'm getting drowsy.
I'm woozy.
I'm woozy. I am getting woozy. I'm about to start saying some stuff. I'm about to tell you how I really feel about some things in a couple of minutes.
We're going to do obvious outsider outside hours.
After hours outsider. But guys, it's been fun kicking it with you guys. Same bat time, maybe same bat station, maybe
We'll
same.
let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know. We'll keep you informed. But I'm Drip. That's
Chip.
Chip. And we're out.
Peace. Okay, bye.